Good evening, welcome back to In the Khud. This is August 16, 2022, 8:24 p.m. and today was a very intense full-time job day to the point that I am almost feeling dizzy right now with the head being heavy, and I just want to wrap up this session and go to the gym, work out, and then call it off a day. Today I woke up like 3 times today. In the morning at 5:30, then went to sleep. At 7 o'clock, gave Snowy food, then went to sleep. Finally, I woke up at 10 a.m. What this means is the morning session did not happen, but I had kind of an intuitive feeling that the day is going to be intense, as it was, because it was a working day after 3 consecutive holidays, and again in this week on Friday is again a holiday, so the next 2 days are going to be pretty intense for the full-time job. So it was good that I slept for those few more hours. The first thing I wanted to do is spend some time understanding match cuts. I had understood them when I was making one video earlier last year, but I did not quite get it right. So I did see Ben Marriott's video on how to scale match cuts, and for position match cut I saw one more video. So for scale match cuts, this is how the match cut looks. Okay, so let's say we are spacing out the transition over 20 frames. So you start here, you give scale keyframe of 100. Currently I'm zooming in. Okay, so I'm going from 100 to 80. You see, if I do it slowly, it's going in like this. Key here is that whatever scale animation you're doing on the first pre-comp or the comp, the exact same thing has to happen on the second as well. It's from 100 to 80 and then again from 100 to 80. The only difference here is the graph and how the influence is. So if I go for the first one in the graph editor, scale, yeah, so the way this looks is like this. How do I... So this first one is really easing into the movement, and it's a bit complex for me to wrap my head around value graph. I've always been using speed graphs, and I found them convenient, mountain peaks and stuff. But basically what you mean by easing in is it has to start slow. The value has to be slow and then suddenly it peaks up. The value peaks up. That's what we want. And for the other one, we just want the exact opposite. So the value starts at the very top. Like here it's at the very top, the acceleration is at the peak, and then it's slowly coming to rest. And if you can achieve that, you have your match cut. If I look at the keyframe velocity here, it does some very weird things. I would just rather go into the graph editor and manually do that, because if I could know the velocity, I would just put in these velocity here and boom, we had it. The speed is just as 1.5 and 0.01. This is very random values. I don't quite know how to read it because I haven't learned After Effects from a school. I'll probably do some trial and error, figure what that means. One second. The other thing that I saw is a position match cut. So basically you take two shapes, it can be a circle, ellipse, whatever, and you parent them both through master control using your script nullify. Click a button and you have it. And then you animate that across here, and at the point, now for here you just simply, what is the speed graph? Yeah, speed graph. Just make a mountain come and just accentuate it to the maximum at the center. So the key is at the point where it's the fastest. I'm doing this over 1 second, so at 15, that's where the cut will happen. Okay, so it starts slow and then zoop. So that's your position match cut. And the reason I spent some time here is because I'm going to start making the from tomorrow, and there isn't anything. It's just very simple, clean looking stuff. So how am I going to make the transitions beautiful and attractive and pleasing? Through match cuts. So I'm going to do a lot of match cuts in that video. I'm going to put all this knowledge to test from tomorrow onwards. Other thing was showreel video templates. Now there's a 3-year showreel video I have to make, which has to be amazing, and for that I had to do some template searching, which made me realize that for templates I wanted to have that script which would go deep into the precomps and check if there is a text layer and bring the source text of that text layer out into the main comp. So I can just type in whatever text I want, and that will be affected, linked through expressions to that deeper inside precomp. If it doesn't make sense, let me explain. This is the major progress I did today in coding. This is the main precomp of the template. I'm gonna first run this simple thing called check precomps.jsx. Now what this is doing is there's a project variable, comp variable. We have one layer selected, whatever layer it is. Now what this script is showing is how we can go deep inside precomps using After Effects scripting. Variable layer underscore 1 is equal to comp.selected layer 0. This is layer underscore 1. Layer underscore 1 underscore 1 is layer underscore 1. This one dot source layer 1. Dot source layer 1. This is pointing to text underscore placeholder O1. Okay. Layer dot source dot layer. This is important. Like the syntax has to be exactly how this is. Going another layer deeper, we have this thing put over here dot source dot layer dot 1. So inside here, now www.designtemplates.io, this is what I should get when I run the script. So I come in here, I select this, I have to select that precomp and I press F5. And I get www.designtemplates.io. So this is how you go deep inside precomps. There isn't like a very clear explanation on the internet for how do you do that. This is how you do it. Taking it a bit further, template easy was my attempt of making some sense out of it. Now if I have this layer selected and I come in here and I press F5, I still get www.designtemplates.io. Okay, no, now I'm actually getting all the layers inside that final precomp. So shape layer 1, shape. We ran a loop. Now here what is happening is for variable I as less than precomp.num layers, we still have a selected layer. We come in here, we run through these number of layers. If one of these, let's say the first one, layer I, first one is an instance of a comp item, which it is. In that case, precomp_1 is this layer right here. Now over here, we run a loop again for j is 1, j is less than precomp1.num layers, alert the name. So that's why we got these 3 names. But what happened is we even got back here and saw that this is also precomp. So we came in here and we alerted this shape layer 1, shape, lorem, something, shape. That's maybe what I want or maybe not. I don't know. But basically this is the progress here. What I tried doing is I wanted to make a function. This is where I got stuck logically how to process this. So I have to spend some time thinking about it. Template easy too. Here I made a function called go deeper. So basically every time I go one layer deeper into a comp, I want to have to just call a function, which is function go deeper, and then that does that for me. What I am not clear about is what should this function return so that it makes my life easier here. Currently it's just the comp is a parameter. Checks if the comp is a comp. If the layer, one of those layers is a comp, if it is, it makes a precomp and then calls it dot source, and currently is just returning the precomp.layer1.name. So currently if I even run this script, the only advantage here is you don't have to have anything selected. So I come in here and it says alert, go deeper, and then comp. So if I just run this, I'll get text placeholder 12. Okay, the first one, yeah, we're getting the name of the first comp inside the first comp. So yeah, clearly there's a lot of work that has to be done here, but we are on the right path, and eventually we'll get to a point where we'll have that script called template easy, and this will be such a universal and helpful script. And no matter what template I download, I can just press a button and it will go through all the precomps, it will go through all the layers inside those precomps and all the precomps inside those precomps, everything till the very root. It will go in and it will bring out the things that I want. I want text, I want the colors, I want the shape properties. It will bring out all those in a condensed format into the main root composition, and that will be huge. Enough of aspirations. There is one more thing I wanted to cover is After Effects. Small things I've learned. After Effects allows to select previous or next panel and frame to move between. The default shortcut is Alt Shift plus comma and period, but I changed it to something more convenient, which is just comma and period, because we are a keyboard shortcut fanatic, if you will. A frame inside After Effects can be exported to Photoshop layers, composition, save frame as Photoshop. All elements should be visible where the composition is paused. If I have the indicator here and if I have composition, save frame as Photoshop layers, only this thing will come in. If I have to have it here and I do composition, save frame as Photoshop layers, I'll get all these in terms of Photoshop layers the way they should, and Photoshop file is still open since morning. So yeah, it's exactly how it should, like every single layer is separate. This is one thing I did not know. Like, of course Photoshop to After Effects something that I've always been doing, but you can actually even go After Effects back to Photoshop. So that was one new thing learned. So yeah, I know quite a few things learned today, quite a few things experimented. As a result, my head is kind of anyway, that was it for today's documentation. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks so much for being in the khud. I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.